So let's start with sharing the screen here. We're going to, again, begin with the Deford Insurance Group semi-annual survey. Of course, this is for 2022, first half of the year. Again, I always like doing these because it's my opportunity to be transparent on what my grades are. And it really does give me opportunities, I think, to improve. And hopefully, one of the things that I will say this before we get started, some of the comments here, I don't mind any of them, good or bad. Some of hopefully, because it's kind of like a brief comment, I'll probably ask, like, if you could clarify, you may have to reveal your identity. But there's some things I'm kind of wondering if we could kind of flesh some of this out for my own sake of helping you guys out. So you'll kind of see what I'm talking about here in a minute. So let's go over again. I'm going to share my screen so you guys see what the deal is. So this is the results of the survey. I had 49 of you take the time to fill this out. I really appreciate that. Again, we'll just kind of zip right through this. There's a series of different questions based off of the overall experience of working at Deford Insurance Group. And then also the kind of ways to improve if you didn't give it a perfect score. And then also the training itself, trying to assess how do you guys like the training, the format, the daily huddles, the deep dives. Again, this is something I've been refining for years, really. And I think we got a really good arrangement. But again, I'm always looking for ways to improve. Okay, so the first question is, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the worst and 5 being the best, how would you score your overall experience being a part of David Deford's agency? So he had 79.6% give it a perfect score, 5 out of 5. 4 out of 5, about 14%, 3 out of 5, 4.1%, and then 2% or one person gave it a 2 out of 5, nothing for 0 out of 5. Now, I did ask this follow-up question here. And again, I like this question because it helps me understand what it would take to get to a 5. And essentially it is, if you scored anything less than a 5, please describe why you scored your experience less than a 5 and what steps that I, David, could take to make it a 5 out of 5. So again, this is a very helpful question for me because it gives me an opportunity to see, okay, you didn't score it perfect. What do you think it would take to be perfect? So maybe some opportunities again for me to improve. I'm going to grab my pen and pencil here too, just take some notes as we go through this. Okay. So, and again, I'll kind of skim over some of these, like the nice compliments. Again, I appreciate all those, of course. I would like to see an option of where to go when we're in the middle of a contract and need help, for example, Medicare, ACA, life, maybe a group of experienced people willing to help those who don't know how to submit info or have a crazy scenario and they can help. So first of all, just to be 100% clear here to whomever this individual is, as well as those of you out there, if you ever have questions underwriting wise, you're always welcome to call me or text me. Sincerely, the easiest way to reach me and most likely way to reach me is to text me, okay? I have a much better skill capability of replying to text when it comes to underwriting. And if it's necessary, calling you back if I don't happen to pick up the first call to kind of go over the details. You guys are not bothering me when you have questions about underwriting and helping getting deals closed. I repeat, I don't make money until you do. So what does that mean? That means you closing a deal is paramount to both of our successes. I don't get paid until you get paid. So this means you have the welcome ability to reach out to me when the time comes. Now, again, how do you do this? If you go to the training site, go to Classroom. If you click on how to contact David, you will see my phone number, my personal cell. You can text me there or call me. If it is a non-urgent question, I ask that you either email me or you jump on one of these Q&A calls. We do them during the summer, at least 3 days a week. And I'm very responsive in handling those questions. Again, only if it's non-urgent should you come on a Q&A or shoot me an email. If it's urgent, I expect your phone call. And to me, most urgent questions typically are based on getting deals closed because you're in the house right now, okay? So I think I took a call or a text message late last night on Sunday. I'll be more than happy to take your call. It's never a burden to do it. And if you don't get me, just text me and I'll get back to you ASAP. Can we have your home phone number? I don't have a home phone. I just have that cell phone. So Does anybody still have a home phone anymore? Just our clients, basically, in the country. All right. All right. I signed up with your company as an agent. As a new agent, it was very hard to get in contact with anyone. Improve communication, especially with new agents. Video is great, but, and I totally understand that. The one thing I'll stress here, again, just to repeat, in here is the best way to reach me. Okay. You'll get all my contact information up here. You can also shoot me a message in the forum. You can just find my name here, kind of hover over it. And all of y'all, including to me, you can send your messages this way. Again, it's not urgent. It's not an urgent response medium, but this stuff does exist to help facilitate the questions that you have. Shoot me emails. Again, anybody who's done that knows I'm very responsive with emails, except maybe the weekends where it might be closer to 2 days before I respond. Usually it's less than 24 hours in most cases. So now, again, I'm assuming you're working through final expense with me. If you're working with another intermediary, like through our ACA or a Medicare program or annuities, this is not, I would say this to everybody here on the call here. If you're not getting anywhere with any of the other components outside of who we partner with on those fronts, and you're not getting responses, please copy me to an email. Please let me know. Okay. We're not perfect. Everybody's busy. Everybody's got stuff going on and people make mistakes. You have my full 100% permission to copy me, to let me help you make whatever kind of bridge of communication we need to make in order to satisfy whatever question you have out there that you're not getting, in your perception, a timely response. It's never a burden to ask me to help you, okay? Because I don't get paid until you get paid. So please make sure to do that. And again, if you want to share specificity, whether publicly or in an email, let me know. And again, please let me help you. I definitely want to. Thank you. More time needs to be spent discussing how to get in front of prospects, not product knowledge. Again, I don't know if you're talking about the final expense side here. We talk extensively about that. Please, guys, correct me if I'm missing something here. We almost never talk about product knowledge on our training, our live training. I can't remember the last couple of months that we've done product training. And it's not so much I'm opposed to it. It's just that most of the repository for product training is in the final expense cheat sheet. Again, just kind of pointing this out so everybody sees it. It's in the cheat sheet here. You can see all the carrier training here, the videos, the application, the deep dive training. Of course, on the training site under the classroom section, we've got the product training here. You can learn how to use the cheat sheet, have some case studies, that kind of thing. So we've got a lot of resources for that, but because of that, we really don't do a lot of live stuff. So I apologize. I don't understand if that is related to us or one of our, again, syndicate organizations on the Medicare side. I know they do a pretty good job of talking about more the prospecting side and getting in front of them, closing. Again, must be talking about the leads. Again, I'm confused there. We do a good bit of that. Again, correct. If we need to do more, I'm all for it. I've been saying lately too, you know, a lot of kind of had a shift mentally on the importance of getting into the door, right? Calling them, getting in front of them. If you're face-to-face, door knocking them, the script to do it, being prepared for objections, and then also the first 30 seconds of the telesales call, and really emphasizing that more, which I would agree with if that's the point here. But again, I invite anybody who made that comment, if you're comfortable publicly or in an email to me, to kind of help explain that a little bit more for my sake. So, because if that's something we're missing, happy to work on that. As an inexperienced agent, it's difficult to understand the leads part. There's no direct guide for that. There's a link, but it's not easy to follow. So this, again, anybody who has some suggestions here, I'm open to this. So when I read that, I'm thinking, okay, if we go to the lead section on the training site, we've got our listing of vendors here. There's an overview page, the different kind of leads here. If anybody can help me understand what I'm missing in the explanatory part, I think that would be useful. Like, do we need something like how leads work, what leads are, that kind of thing? I'm kind of missing the connection here. And again, I'm not saying that this is wrong or anything, because one of the things too, of course, it's one thing to train it, right? And then go back to what it's like to be new again. Like, it's been such a long time since I started. It's like, okay, remember what it was like to be new, the questions that you have that you kind of take for granted now because you talk about them all the time. You want to make sure that there's training available for it. So if there's anybody that can give me some advice on here, let me know in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. So Valerie, can you expound on that? How do you mean by that when you say that would be good? You can throw it in a chat or mute yourself, whatever you want. Again, what's the missing element? It's funny because I had there was some carrier training here, and it's funny, you see the one-on-one section, like I never had included this training until probably 6 or 12 months ago, because it's like basic final expense training. And it didn't even dawn on me recruiting agents that maybe they didn't have the full understanding through watching my videos of the final expense products. I was like, oh, well, just some basic training. Why not? Right. So maybe that's something I need to provide. Again, if you want to throw it in the chat, again, it's not silly to seek clarification. What I've discovered as a trainer is that when there's issues, there's basically you're not the only one who has a problem. In most cases, everybody at some point thinks of this as an issue. How to just start to engage. So like how to start and engage a prospecting attempt. Is that what you're saying, Valerie? And again, you just throw it in the chat. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll point it out to you here. If you go to the training, and again, I'll just cover this for both telesales and face-to-face. If you go to training to get appointments, this is how I would, and again, you feel free to correct me if I'm missing anything. As far as engagement goes, my definition of engagement is, well, how do I get in the door? How do I start a call? How do I get an appointment, right? So I look at things like appointment setting and door knocking. If you read these, there are videos that will walk you through this process of doing it, okay? And then also on the telesales side, if you go here and you go to the telesales script training, nailing the opening is what the equivalent of what I would call getting the engagement going with the telesales call. So that's where I would point you out and reviewing, because these are very, as you're suggesting, very important. It really is, of the entirety of the presentation, this is the most important. So make sure to check those out. And if anything's missing or not clear, let me know. Again, I'm always looking to improve. Excuse me. Okay. I don't think there's a perfect agency. There will always be things that someone doesn't like. The business gets expensive fast, and I don't think you can be a successful agent at DIG without a $10,000 investment. I think you might be out of the loop with some advice you give that just doesn't work the same as it used to. I wish you did more help the agents video, but I know YouTube algorithms prefer this as a successful person versus this as a failing person. So like YouTube content where, okay, we got an agent struggling and we're interviewing them on how to improve. That's kind of actually a pretty good content idea. I'm going to write that down here. Hold on. I've done stuff like that before. And I did some interviews maybe 2 or 3 years ago that would kind of be defined in that. And it was just regular people, regular agents, kind of where they were in the struggles and me trying to diagnose the problems. I tried doing it again like 2 years ago. And the issue I ran into was people don't want to get on camera. Some do, some don't. So I think that's kind of the issue. It's like, I'll help you if we can make it content. There's that exchange, if you will. But I'll revisit that because the content's really good. I mean, it's just very helpful to kind of listen through the struggles of an agent, because we all, as new agents, including me, I failed out of the business, had those problems, right? So it's interesting hearing and thinking through, okay, what am I doing right? What can I improve on? Where can I focus my efforts to better my odds of success, right? So I'm going to write that down as an idea. One second. All right. Maybe one training session could be given to a person who wants to discuss what they are going through. Let's say you make a sign-up sheet and an agent or two as a backup has the opportunity to discuss their struggles and get advice from you in the group. More content on how to rely less on lead vendors and more on self-generating leads. If you rely solely on lead vendors, you'll never really earn a lot of money. More transparent on how you won't make money your first year. Prepare to be broke. So a couple of comments here. I'll go back and start from the top. The business gets expensive fast, and I don't think you can be a successful agent in DIG without a 10,000 investment. And granted, I know you suggested that things maybe aren't like they used to be, and I'll cover that in a second. I know personally, I started in the business with $4,000 fifth credit card that wasn't tapped out. I started getting success immediately. It wasn't resounding success because I started part-time. I had my personal training gym. But I started right away making sales, seeing the people, doing what I was taught to do, and getting results. Now, with that said, I did fail after my first year, and I think it was mostly because of my immaturity as a businessman. And thankfully, unlike a lot of people who fail this business, I had a second chance, and I fixed the problems and my mindset and problems that I had and came back and gradually started to improve myself and my production and had very good success as a personal agent before getting into a massive amount of recruiting. Now, a couple of things here. I certainly believe that you don't need to have $10,000 in investment to do this business well. I think, again, my experience, granted it was a decade ago, I had much less amount of money to invest. I think really the linchpin, and I've done this for a long time, is that agents who are going to be successful, and I really mean this, and for everybody that's on the call here, or anybody that's watching a recording of this, I really think that your ability to be successful will be determined in your first week of the business. That doesn't mean you're going to be successful as far as a guarantee, okay? But the odds are in your favor for long-term success if you make a sale that first week, preferably that first day, on the phone or in the field. Again, I have the luxury of observing, and I don't have like a scientific analysis of the results per se, but I have an anecdotal observation for what it's worth. It's worth something, that the people who succeed long-term are those people who see success right away. I don't see people in this business. It's much more rare to see people who have 10,000 to throw it away for 3 months and then see success. It very rarely actually works out that way. Is it good to have that much money? For sure. The more you have, the better in this business, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing wrong with having a bankroll. You should strive to pad your bank account with as much cash as humanly possible. That's a good thing. The thing that we have to decide on, and this is kind of the difficulty, is how long will you wait to take a chance on yourself, right? Are you going to wait to, it would be great to have $25,000 or $50,000 in the bank. I agree. But that takes a long, long time in our regular job doing something else, paying for our bills, right? So I established the minimums, which we talk about. Typically 3,000 to 5,000 is good for full-time. Part-time, 2,000, give or take, somewhere in there. And that is contingent to me, those numbers, on you making money right away. And because long-term success is more often a higher probability with sales in those first couple of weeks, that's why I think that's all you really need to have. So, but everybody's mileage is going to vary. At the end of the day, as it always has been, even since I started, 90% of this business fails out. Even those people who do everything right, because sometimes the business isn't really meant for you, right? So my perspective is I agree on some level, having more money is a good thing. It really is. But I think you can do well with minimums, assuming you follow what we teach and apply it in the way that we describe. And that, again, of course, is for some people harder to do than others, myself included. Okay. So going on here. Okay, more, and thank you for the content ideas, Zoe, for the struggling agent content. I'm definitely going to revisit that. That's a really good idea. So thank you very much for that. More content on how to rely less on lead vendors and more on self-generating leads. So here's the thing. I'm not opposed to that idea. The problem in my experience is that the application of self-generated leads is much harder than what it's presented to be. A lot of people buy these courses and actually never apply them, or they never even get through the course themselves. And that's their fault. It's not to say that everybody's going to do that, but a lot of it's more confusing and takes more work and effort than people think it does. The other side of this too is when you get the thing up and running, not everybody nails in a $5 or less lead like they'd love to. It's become progressively harder to do if we're talking Facebook here, and that's what I'm talking about mostly. It's become progressively more difficult to market on Facebook. Not to say that it's impossible. It is for sure as possible. It's just, it's not the solution to the problem necessarily. It may be for some people, but I don't think full course across the board, everybody should be self-generating their own leads, especially if you're brand new. I think the biggest issue to begin with is that when you are starting and you're truly new to this business, adding on another layer of complexity of now you're responsible for learning this business of generating leads in conjunction with learning the business of selling insurance. You're exponentially increasing the complexity. And the more complex a task is, the harder it is to complete it, which means that less people will succeed. So I look at the self-gen side of things as an intermediate strategy. Once you get up and running on a predictable process using paid leads, that if you apply the training plus the effort, then the odds are going to be in your favor that you're going to see some success. That's when I think it's okay, is once you can go out there and comfortably write business every week because you know the business, you know the strategy, you know what to do, right? So, but to me, it's not the cure-all that a lot of people think it is. But it's not saying it's necessarily bad either. It just comes, it's just like everything in business. There's good and bad with everything. Same thing with self-generating leads. Now, as far as final expense goes, we don't do a lot of referral generation training because we've had the luxury of relying on paid leads. And I'll take the critique for that for sure. We don't really do much referral training because it's just so easy to like buy leads and run appointments, you know, granted that you've got the money there and you've got the effort to put behind it. And that may be something I'll work on. In fact, I'm gonna write that down. Okay. If you rely solely on lead vendors, you'll never really earn a lot of money. Again, I don't agree with that particularly. This business of if we're talking about final expense, Medicare too, this business can be had. You can make good money just simply buying leads. You don't have to self-generate leads. You don't have to do referral marketing. I still feel it's going to be that way for the conceivable future. There's ample evidence on YouTube, not just for myself and within our agency, but certainly other creators out there that doing this kind of task does get them results. And I believe it's something that does work. You don't have to not rely on lead vendors. More transparent on how you won't make money your first year. I think I've, again, if I think I'm pretty clear when I recruit agents, and if this wasn't clear to you, man, I tell everybody, most people are going to fail. But that's the business of being a business owner anyway. It's not unique to insurance sales or final expenses. It's true if anybody's run a business that most businesses fail within the first couple of years. And this is just a business, just like everything else. And it's still within the confines. And to me too, my perspective is, if you're not making money your first couple of months, this is not the business. You don't have to wait a full year. I don't want you to go broker than broke for a full year, because you probably aren't really going to get anywhere in this business like that. And you probably should seek another avenue, whether it's a different agency or a different product even, I'm not the solution for everybody, of course, and certainly not as final expense Medicare, ACA, or annuities aren't either. So, but this is a business, I think, that, with the exception of maybe annuities, that's a little slower cycle, but final expense for sure, you should be making money within a month or two. You really should be profitable between month 1 and month 2, making sales immediately within your first week in the field. And if you're not doing that, this isn't for you. That's okay. Okay. So thank you very much for that critique. I appreciate it. I really do. Okay. So this is the question on Deford Insurance Group agency training on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being poor quality, 5 being excellent quality. How would you rate the quality of David's live training and self-study? 83.8 or 87.8% gave it a 5 out of 5. 10.2% gave it a 4 out of 5. And then 2% gave it a 3 out of 5. So thank you very much, guys. If the same question is asked above, if it was anything less than a 5, describe why and what I can do to make it better. So again, just going to kind of walk through here. Yeah, I saw that. I changed that. Thanks for whoever said that. That was a reference I incorrectly made in the survey, but didn't really have much of an impact. Maybe look to having a backup successor in training when you're out on vacation or time to build more content. No, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. You know, I've actually been thinking about that. I do everything around here, Deford Insurance Group, as you guys know, quite well, I think. But it would be nice to have some help from time to time. All right. Maybe look to have, okay. Yep. Got that one. Suggest longer huddles, but less of them. So we used to have, for those of you who've been around for a while, we used to do trainings. I used to do like 18 hours of live training a week. I mean, I was doing like 3 hours a day in the morning, in the afternoon, live training. And what I found is that because of the length of the training, there wasn't as much engagement because of the requirement that it took to get through a training session. So what we've really settled on, and I think, and again, I'm not saying please don't suggest alternatives, but what I've seen to be the most profound and impactful are these daily huddle trainings that we started at the beginning of the year in combination with these kind of like 2-hour long deep dive trainings. 30 minutes is like a really quick training that most people feel comfortable attending. That's not going to like, you know, take all day to get through, right? But the deep dives that was now the beginning of the week allow the opportunity to do a deeper dive into the content to get better understanding. I think that's powerful. And I think my attendance in all these trainings have gone through the roof. I mean, we have days where we're in the 50s, right? You know, maybe 6 months ago, I'd be happy with 20 to 25. So the attendance has gotten really good. And I think the outcomes have been great. So my suggestion would be come to the deep dive trainings now on Mondays. And if you're watching this in the future, they could be Mondays, Fridays, this depends. Those are where you want to be for those longer, more in detail analysis type trainings. Okay, first of all, I think the training is awesome, pretty easy to follow so far. It'd be nice if you were grouped with others who are at the same level or stage so that you have others to bounce ideas off of. It would also be nice to have a visual representation of the items that have been completed or not as a new agent moves toward being ready to sell. Excellent point on the last point, like a some kind of like virtual checklist. I looked into that, but I don't know if there's a way to do that. I'll kind of tell you what I've got just to kind of show you the comparison. So first of all, the classroom modules, you see all the 100% stuff here, like this will tell you what you have completed. And if you look through this stuff and when you've done it, you can click done or mark as done. And then it shows that you've completed 100% of the training. So this is a way to kind of keep track that, you know, again, there's no like, you know, do this, this, and this to be ready to sell. But, you know, again, my thought process would be if you come in this face-to-face, you should do the face-to-face training, final expense carrier training, and lead training and complete that. And then you're ready to sell, right? And then same thing for telesales, just switch face-to-face with telesales. So we kind of have something like that to an extent. Then also, if you go through the new agent checklist under new agent start here, click on getting started checklist. There's again, the same kind of thing here. Again, but it's a PDF. You can't actually click on the boxes, but if you print it out or make your own copy. You could probably do something similar, right? Because this is, again, an attempt to help you make sure you're doing everything that you should. Okay. But again, if you guys got any ways to make that more streamlined, any suggestions, please let me know. I'm open-minded. Again, the easier that I can make this onboarding process for you to be organized, to know what steps you've done, to clarify which ones you need to do that maybe you haven't, I'm open-minded to anything. Okay. One of the things that I've learned as a trainer is that I like the way that I learn is different from others. Like, I don't need organization. I just kind of take it and then kind of organize it myself and figure it out. But people really thrive, I think, with checklists, with directions on what to do, knowing what steps to take. And so I've tried to organize my site, especially with this new website that's come out, to represent that. But again, I'm not closed-minded to improving that process. So suggestions, please email me, throw them in the chat. I'm happy to, again, look at better ways to improve, because it's going to benefit everybody. All right. Let's see here. I think the training is great. Other agencies aren't doing what you do. Most don't do shit except help with contracts and have stupid webinars that are often a waste of time. I feel connected with the agency, my colleagues. Great. I appreciate you saying that. Very much so. Thank you. That is the goal. All right. Final thoughts here. What can I do to improve or enhance the quality of his insurance agent, my insurance agent, whatever? How can I make this better? Is there anything I'm overlooking that he could improve upon or add to enhance your experience? Please be as candid as possible. All right. There's nothing new at this time. Everything is great, including the leads resources. Being new, I don't know what the acronyms mean. Thank you very much. SEPs. What else do we say that's acronyms? Face amounts, premiums, right? Lingo. That's a really good idea. I'm going to go ahead and create a resource for that. So let me put that down here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a forum post sometime this week, and it's going to be acronyms for insurance. And I'm going to throw a list in there, and then I'll have you guys help me out by throwing in some other acronyms that I'm not thinking of. And then I'm probably going to compile that to like in the getting started section. I'll probably put up like, go here for a list of acronyms if you're curious. That's a really good recommendation. Thank you. Honestly, I'm over the moon with everything. I wish I had this on the Medicare side. The links worked and weren't broken, and the resources on the side to get to the pages for life for just those of us that cross-sell. Maybe like an all-star Deford team for those who are licensed to do everything and just want one site with all the resources for each side of the insurance. Yeah, this is part of the difference, right? So the Medicare side is kind of, again, we're kind of syndicates to them. It's not integrated the same way as with the final expense. I should probably, that's another good suggestion. I need to get those guys to come on to this. You guys like this school site? Everybody like this so far? I mean, I love it personally. The one thing I wish was here is a chat, an optional chat that you guys could jump on and talk live. They don't have that with this particular product. It's just a forum, which is great, right? It's easier to look back at topics. It's searchable. It's going to turn into, already has a great repository of information that isn't necessarily covered in the training. I need to get those guys to get on the school site, because this is just so much better than the old clunker that we used to have. It was a really good upgrade. Let me make a note here. Site. I know that they use like a Dropbox, which to me is just, I mean, hey, it's good content, but Dropbox, man, we can bring it up to speed. All right. Keep organizing your website. Again, it's suggestions to organize. You guys know I'm serious about it. And there could be the potential that some of those who filled out the survey, this isn't an excuse for me, may not have seen the new site. So if you haven't, check it out. If you're realizing this, hopefully that remedies it. But if there's things to improve on organization, let me know. You're not going to offend me. Agents should have someone to contact that can lead them in the right direction. This guy. If it's for final expense, again, the training, the way that you stay in contact with someone to lead you in the right direction, come on to the Q&A calls, 9 a.m., 1 p.m., Monday through Wednesday right now, after summer, Monday through Friday. The deep dives, the daily huddles, come on to those. Shoot me emails. I respond in less than 24 hours during the week. Text me if it's urgent. Call me if it's urgent. You can send me a message on the school forum. Okay. You are not bothering me. Okay. I don't make money till you do. Okay. I like making money. Let me help you, please. And then if it's stuff like, contracting though, so we send you guys emails that you should receive. Okay. So remember when you signed up, there was a newsletter list that you put your name on. When you do that, you're sequenced into an auto email sequence several times. You're going to get emails like, hey, contracting, if there's questions with contracting, contact Nancy or Kara. Usually it's Nancy, I think, and deal directly with her. And then if you're monitoring your contracts, if it's BGA more than 5 days, contact Nancy. If they're at carrier, it's been longer than 5 business days, call the carrier. So make sure you look to your emails to kind of reference that stuff. And I want to say on here, if it's contracting, just because that sometimes is an issue, there should be under the additional resources tab here. How to check on carrier appointments. Just open this resource down here. It'll kind of give you all the numbers. There's Nancy's number there. And again, just as a reminder to everybody, it's imperative. It's not on here, of course, but when you log in, I hit it as a pin post. New agent start here. Actually, it's right here in the sidebar. If you click that, you'll be taken to this page. Please read all of this, watch this video, go through the entire site. Again, a lot of this stuff that you'll have questions about is answered by default if you read to that. So just make sure you please do that. I'm very new here. I don't have a lot to add. I will say that it feels good to know that you're at least a real company, community, not some scam type employer. Thank you. My initial experience was mostly horrible. Navigating the website is not the best experience for me. I think you could update the design and make it more pleasant to the point for agents that are already on your team. Again, this is one of those where I'm hoping, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, that this is in reference to the old clunker site, not the new one. The new one, much, much better than the other. The other one wasn't that bad. It was just kind of old. It's like, it's like your old, my old 98 Ford Ranger. Remember those? Oh, that was a nice car. It's a nice truck. It was old, it was beat up, but it was nice. It did the job. So this one's the new F-150, right? So if you're lost or confused or anything with the new site, let me know, please. Happy hour, it's a need. We all know who said that, John Gramble. More product knowledge. Let me ask you guys. So those of you who have been through the training, I guess that's kind of so I'm speaking specifically to the agents here who have gone through the training, who have started to sell. What's your thoughts on the product knowledge as it relates to the standalone training on the classroom? Is what is listed here sufficient for you? Or do you think there would be some value in some live training on product knowledge? And if so, what would you like to see? Jocelyn, you're welcome to jump on. Thank you.
No, you really have to avoid, 30 minutes just really isn't a lot of time to do. I think the videos are enough because you can do that. Everyone needs to go to the carriers and do their videos. It just takes a little bit longer. And then practice the application. Like Aetna has a sandbox.
Yeah.
That's really all I personally would not like it, just because you just need that focus when you have the time to do it. It'll take you some time. It's not something that you can whip through in 5 minutes.
Any devil's advocates out there? I like to hear both sides of the story. Thank you, Jocelyn. Vince, yeah, hey, what's up?
Listen, that final expense workshop we just did, when you set them up, let them go to that site. They did a great job of telling us about their products.
Yeah. So you mean the training we did Friday?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And all of that, just so you guys know, the prior one we did is located on the carrier's overview sheet here under column H, all these Google Drive links. These are all reviews. Granted, they're about a year and a half old. Some of them are newer, but we're going to update everything we just did with those videos, and they'll be replaced with what you see. Replaced here with the new ones, and these ones will be gone. So all of that content will be there. So Vince, yeah, go ahead. Okay.
I'm done.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so yeah, so for me, guys, I stopped doing carrier training. I think because it could be adequately covered here in your self-study, and I felt like where we needed to spend more time was on the mindset and really the sales process itself. It's carrier knowledge is important, but really your capability to connect is going to help with your prospect is what drives whether you're going to make the sale or not. You need to know how to sell this stuff. You need to know how to sell yourself to the client. And so I admittedly spent an inordinate amount of time doing that. I think it's been better on par for the team doing that. But like I said, this is something where I've gone back and forth on. I don't do any kind of application training. The carriers do a well enough job. I don't do so I'm kind of limited. Just what I'm most interested if we do carrier training is really sticking with the specifics of why you would use basically what we filmed on Friday. Here's the advantages of this carrier. Here's what you're going to look at from the agent standpoint, the practicality of it. So anyways, again, if anybody wants to chime in on the carrier stuff, if you want to see more of it, just shoot me an email, say so in the chat. Again, open-minded to some ideas there. Okay, almost done here. The only critique that I would be to ask if you would add a section to the self-study training that would include facts and resources that new agents would need to know for tax purposes. Example, expenses, write-offs, basic finance for new agents. That's a great point. Let me see here in the classroom section if I've added anything like that. I know I've talked about it at times. I got the LLC discussion video here. I'll make kind of a video on taxes, or just really just running your business, I guess you could say, from an operational financial standpoint. So content idea. Anybody what would you want to see if you throw in a chat, like what would you like to see on that kind of content, like covered? Again, we got here like tax questions, expenses, write-offs, basic finance. If anybody wants to build on that or provide specificity, let me know. Okay, thank you very much. That was a good idea. I'll see if I can cover that on a daily huddle here this week or next. And remember, yours truly is not an accountant. Disclaimer, I'm just a dude on camera, not an accountant. But I will tell you what I write off. I'll put it that way. Seek advice from an accountant. All right. Okay, a perfect agent for, I feel like the agency is perfect for the experienced professionals. I hope you also hope that it's good for the not so experienced either. Again, I've always strived to be the agency for new agents to final expense Medicare, annuities, and ACA, not just, but experience too. We try to, the market of agents is predominantly new, right? And so I routinely try to target my wares or efforts after those agents. So if as a newbie, something's missing from the training, let me know. Let me help you. I'd like to see a bit more training on the importance of goal setting. Great job. Great content idea. I'll definitely do that. Goal setting training. That is something that definitely is lacking. I know I've talked a little bit more about it in the last couple of months, but we need to build on that more. That's a good one. Thank you very much. I would nice to have a continuous Zoom going for all the telesales agents to join daily and have camaraderie, accountability, and support for each other while we're dialing, sort of like a virtual call center. It'd really only be effective if cameras are on, however. To flesh that out a little bit, my only concerns would be who's going to be doing work. I'd have to kind of hear this a little bit more to see how it would make sense. If you guys got ideas on that, let me know. I'm planning on reactivating as an agent in June after my heart surgery. Thus, no one works better than David. Thank you very much, Bob. The new school forum is great, much better than the last. Knowing who is around me would be great. I'm sure there are other agents in here, but I don't know about them. Yeah. So as a rule, guys, if you want to know who's around you, my advice is just to throw a post in the chat or in the forum. Just write something here. Hey, I'm an agent in Tennessee. Anybody in the Tri-City area of Chattanooga or whatever, I don't know. Go ahead and use the forum to post that stuff. That's why it's there. So you're welcome to do that. An idea would be to send every agent an email, and if they want, they can share the contact information. So yeah, that's what's nice about the forum is you can go in there and you can search like agents in California, maybe see something pop up. But please use the forum for that. That's exactly what that's for. Then create a Google spreadsheet that has tabs or region by Southeast, put their information there. Colorado is a great state to do business in for producers. They do have some quirky laws when it comes to compliance. We must use the word life insurance on all solicitation materials. My strongest point now is that I'm talking to people about final expense. I'm letting them know I provide personalized local service. As a broker, I can shop around, find the best coverage possible. Thank you. And then last little bit here on comments, and then we'll take a few minutes break and then come back and start critiquing a sales call. Any other comments on anything not covered above, please leave below. I want to say thank you for all the hard work and research you do. Thank you for all the training you provide. Most of all, thank you folks for raising a man of integrity. Yeah, thanks, Mom. Mostly Mom. Dad, a little bit. Mostly it's Mom. It's nice having plenty of money. You have a great looking family. I saw your eyes light up when your little girl came in. Congratulations. Thank you very much. You're a great teacher. Glad I found you. Appreciate it. Well, I don't want agents under me. Maybe a referral bonus in the form of leads for us referring agents to be part of something better. I'm okay with that if that's something you guys wanted to do. I don't mind paying bonuses, but they've got to produce. There's a lot of people that come into this business that are ready to roll, but they never actually pull the trigger and write something. I have no problem paying a referral bonus if some agent actually writes business. So if you guys have people you want to bring in and you want to talk to me about a referral bonus, we can come up with something and I can make it lucrative for you. But they got to write business in order to earn it. That's the catch. David's been extremely helpful and upfront with all his training and communication. His training site is easy to navigate and follow with actionable advice. Daily huddles are extremely helpful and keep me on track. No hype, no BS, just simple instructions to follow. Thanks for all you do. David's program's been fantastic for me. Appreciate it. Being new to DIG, I just need to navigate the resources better since there's so many. Yeah, and I totally understand. There's so much to learn. Again, this is kind of why, like I said earlier, I kind of avoid doing the self-generation stuff because that's a whole new slew and litany of stuff that you need to do. Yeah, we're getting to that in a second. I love the family atmosphere and how helpful both David and other agents are. We're all different, but blend together great together. Absolutely. I love it. Yeah, we all have diverse backgrounds, experiences, age groups. It's a cool thing coming together for a like-kind cause to help people in their walks of life. So it's a wonderful thing these days. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you guys. More rich, less scramble. What? Is John here even to defend himself? No, of course not. So, okay, let's pile on him then. So let me tell you about John.
You mean Rich as in me? Is that who they're talking about?
Yeah, somebody likes your commentary, Rich. That's good.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate John too coming on because I think there's a lot of value in having some interaction between not just people who are doing very well, but those who may be struggling or in their different backgrounds. It's good to get dialogue going and an interaction. because I think it helps them. It helps you kind of formulate through some of these questions and think through better. And it makes it more engaging and fun. So the more that I can have engagement, even from John Gramble, I think there's value in it. And at least at the end of the day, it's hopefully somewhat fun. So there's John right there texting me. All right. Best insurance training in the industry. Appreciate it. I missed the real-time ability of group me. Me too. Yeah. I'm going to talk to the developers of this and see if they can come up with a chat function that you can sign up for. I don't know if they'll ever do it, but the chat is nice. It really is a missing element. I'm committed to helping customers win, take the next steps necessary to become a top producer. Thank you very much. So thankful that DIG contacted me back in 2020. Such a pleasure being part of the supportive positive agency along with fellow agents and Deford. Thank you very much. I would also like to see some training on why a positive mindset is so important to sales. Yeah, I have actually been bumping up the level of mindset training. Just, I don't know, I feel comfortable talking about it now. I've been doing this long enough that I never did want to get into the guru stuff, because there's so much of that and it's kind of cheesy after you hear it for a while. And I was always kind of just, I'll just talk about the fundamentals when it comes to the actual execution of the script and getting things done. But I've kind of started, slipping into some mindset stuff, which I think is actually pretty good. And hopefully it's fallen on good ears. So yeah, I definitely will do more of that as I'm kind of inspired to do it. I love the training that David provides. The way he breaks down the philosophy of the sale is that real elite type shit. He's crazy, smart, and hysterically funny. Thank you very much. It's such a joy to be part of the organization. Truly blessed. Appreciate you. Very nice words. Thank you. Best thing I've done in a long time is join your agency. Integrity is hard to find. So glad I found it with David. Thank you very much. This business is harder than I imagine. I know talking to other agents, there's a lot that are struggling for sure, especially starting out 100%. You see this with the revolving door of people in the meetings. I know that you are supposed to be a true entrepreneur at your agency, but when you don't know anything, it's hard to see through the fog of this 100%. And I remember reading there was an agency owner. I remember I was a part of his forum a long time ago. And, he said, there's no easy way. And it's true. We're always looking for the shortcuts. We're looking for the things in life that'll make things easier. And you're not going to find it in this business. And that's a good thing. It should be hard. It should be difficult. You should embrace the suck, because that's what filters out the competition and leaves behind the people who are good at this, that carve a corner in the market. And that's how really a straight commission job is, not just in insurance, but everywhere. It's the strong that survive, not the weak. And, there's just no way to know how to be an entrepreneur until you do it and learn. I had the only privilege, and I say this, and I try to say this out loud. I do have privilege. My dad was an entrepreneur. He sold his business. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. My uncle Dave helped start XM Radio and Air America back in the day. So I had the privilege of seeing it and growing up with it, but even seeing it, I didn't live it. My dad divorced my mom, and my mom was just, nurse, right? Lower middle class growing up. And I had to experience it. And I've been through all the same crap that you're experiencing, the same kind of frustration. And it is a fog, and it's difficult. And most people don't understand it. And I don't have anything I don't have some secret trick to get around from experiencing this. It's just part of the being in the life of an entrepreneur. And there's just no easy way, and you have to embrace it. What I can tell you though, is after years of struggle, to me, and I go back even to when I was 21 or 22, when I started my personal training business. I learned everything I had from that point, and I had ups and downs, failures in that business, ups and downs early on in insurance. And along the way, I just resolved never to quit, never give up, and to learn from my mistakes, and to, again, vow never to repeat them. Right. And I think if you take that mindset with enough time, that's the element. It usually doesn't happen quick for most people. And that's a good thing. It is a good thing. you're going to get closer to that kind of success, and the fog of business war will clear. This excitement of a new endeavor wears off quick. It sure does. It's romantic when you look at it's like marriage, right? Marriage. I love marriage, right? But that's how it is, right? You meet someone and you're thrilled with them, and then they fart and pick their nose, and and it's like you realize they're just it's work. It's what it is. That's how this business is too. Again, I try not to sugarcoat this stuff, and we should have excitement getting into it, but it does. You realize you're dealing with people who lapse their coverage, and things happen, and there's ups and there's downs, there's frustrations. There's good with business and there's bad with business. Let nobody tell you otherwise. And hopefully I've tried to represent that in my content as best as possible, because it's important. You're getting into a business that's tough, and very few people make it. And you need to have the right mentality about it. It's not so much, and I've been accused of being like negative. Like I've had people say, geez, I had somebody review one of my books and say, when I read this book, I became so depressed and thought I was just so, I felt so bad for myself of, this book made me feel so terrible. And I was like, well, I didn't mean to make you feel terrible per se, but I was just trying to be real. So anyways, I would love to learn more about the avenues besides final expense. Hate to say it, but I think final expense is an oversaturated, oversold market. I hope to earn my money back and move on by the end of the year. So, yeah, and I apologize that it hasn't worked out for you. It does for some, it doesn't for others, and it is a tough market in the sense that there are a lot of agents out there. But I will tell you this, for me personally, and I still think this is the case, you're not in a sales situation where you sit down with two other agents and the lowest price wins. Like, we're not in a bidding war for business. Even if you were, what will ultimately make the difference is you creating and connecting, creating value and connecting with the client and differentiating what it is that you're selling. And we're not even to that point, which a lot of businesses are in, where they do request quotes and they do sit around and debate, right? This still is a one-call close. This still is a business where if you're the first guy in and you can do all this, your odds are pretty high if they're qualified that you're going to sell them, I will say the one thing in final expense that certainly has gotten more saturated is the marketing, right? Because only a small segment of the population responds to direct mail, responds to Facebook marketing, responds to digital marketing. And it's not the majority. It's the small, it's like probably 10 to 20%. So there's a big swath of people that would buy that you can never reach because they just won't respond to this stuff, right? So, and that is, and what's happened is a lot more of us are going after that 10 to 20% than we were 5 years or 10 years ago. So there's saturation in marketing, and the real risk and issue in this business long-term is the price point on marketing itself, and the cost to do business. As the costs increase, you should see the goal is to hopefully justify the cost of doing business with a higher sales size, right? Or look for ways to enhance revenue. It's part of the reason I got into Medicare. The Medicare side of the business allows you to extract more value out of the sales that you make on the final expense side by monetizing a passive stream of income through the sale of Medicare Advantage, right? And then also Medicare Advantage, if you lead with that, ultimately the price point to get in is much lower, and there's a lot of lead support on the subsidization side, from an agency side and also from the carrier side, that you just simply don't see on the life side. So again, long story short, I think the dynamics of final expense are still the same. Can you connect? Can you close? Can you help people? Can you be the first guy in or very close to the first guy in? Do you have the product knowledge? Do you have the connection knowledge? And do you have the work ethic to repeat this? I don't think much has really changed, except there's more of it out there and it's a higher cost acquisition. But I think that also revenue has gone up. We've seen plenty of evidence of higher case sizes, which have driven commission levels up. Plus, if you look at this business holistically, getting into the Medicare side is another way, again, intermediate term, to monetize those leads you purchased as well as those clients that you closed into Medicare sales. And there's ample opportunity to increase revenue 50 to 100% easily if you go that route and in a passive form. And I think that's ultimately long-term what anybody has got to be thinking, how can we make the most out of this business and extract the most value so that we can drive we can drive up the return on investment. So thinking in a longer term, multi-product faceted environment, I think is the ultimate goal that we all should have because of that. I appreciate the confidence that you and your others have shown me. At the end of the day, it's about getting out in the field and making sales. I'm ready to do, ready to do that. Just need to and become to success. You provide amazing organized training to help make this happen. Thank you very much. All right. I think that's it. Very good. Okay. Let me go back to the questions in the chat here and hit these up, and then we'll take a short break and come back and start to look at a sales call. And again, before we get to the comments here, thank you so much for everybody. No matter what your comment was, critiquing or approving, I really appreciate it, especially to the critiquers. I'm always looking for opportunities to improve, and I take this extremely seriously. So thank you very much for all of that, very much. I believe the hardest part is the rejection. If the clients were all receptive, this job would be much easier. I agree, Sharia. What I want you to contemplate on is what the outcome of this business would be if they were all nice. There would be less failure, right? But there would be way more competition. And what happens with more competition? Well, you can drive down the acquisition cost. The acquisition cost on the lead side would go up because you would see more success. So it would cost you more. And the insurance carriers may pay less because they get a lot of business because they don't have to pay as much because there's more success. So in a sense, Sharia, again, give this some thought, and everybody else too. It's good that there's a lot of failure in this business. It is a profoundly good thing if you look at this the right way, because if it was too easy, it would basically paper over the opportunity, take out the financial upside that's fantastic in this business, and basically turn us all into order takers. I know that there isn't much said about mindset, but I would like the balance of speaking about it and being reminded that mindset is important as long as it doesn't turn into rah-rah sessions. Yeah, and I don't know, Mel, tell me if what I've done in the past has been rah-rah. I try not to make it that way, but I think you can have, and this has kind of been my change of heart, like I think you can have motivation, you can have mindset without the Kool-Aid, right? And that's kind of what go ahead.
No, sorry, David. The comment is actually a reference or a compliment that you don't do that. And I appreciate that because I've been involved previously to this with a couple that's what it was. They called training, right, but training ended up being some guy making quote unquote $1 billion. And yeah, it's like, I don't want to hear that. Just tell me how to do the business and tell me what I need to do to stay positive so that I don't let my mindset wipe me out. So I appreciate the approach. You take a reality approach, not fluff.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of stuff we all really need. Hopefully we want it. It's nice to hear about the billionaires and the people high rolling and stuff from time to time. But I think what I've always tried to be is actionable in what it is as far as training goes. It should be something you can actually implement, not just fluffery. The reality is that you'll hear more no's and yeses. It can be frustrating, but you just have to push through it. I prefer the reality than the fluff. Yeah, right. Thank you, Tony. Hey, Dennis, advertising is one of those things that the price goes up, the more demand there is. Yeah, sure. Right. Exactly. How do we reach the 80%? You mean the 80% that the top 20%? I don't know how you mean, John. Clarify, please. Hey, Richard, I would absolutely love to focus on disability income insurance. It's a great product and works for basically anyone who has a job. And I think disability is a pretty cool product. We just don't train it. It's a product that really, it's actually, if you look at the historical trajectory of disability, back in the 70s and 80s was probably its heyday. And then you started seeing all these surgeons, getting disabled, and they would take a 25, 30,000 a month draw for the rest of their life. So they put some pretty serious restrictions on issuing those policies, and got it to where it's very difficult to qualify for. Now, if you do like group disability, that's totally different. I think that's a good market to go into. I don't know so much as a specialty, but as an add-on to a group sale type of situation. I like that stuff. We just don't do it, of course, right? All right, let's keep going. What's the next step if we want to get involved with Medicare Advantage? DavidDuford.com/FAQ. John's, go watch the information on Medicare Advantage, and you'll see about getting your Medicare Advantage licensing, credentialing done, get a review on kind of how we do things a little differently there, and then get with me on any questions. Thanks, Sharia. Hey, Tony, if it were easy, it wouldn't be worth doing. No effort expended leads to no growth. Absolutely. You said only about 20% fill out stuff, but how do you get to the other 80%? Yeah. No, that's like that is the question, right? I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe cold calls, referrals, right? It is a difficult thing to accomplish, and I don't know quite how to do it, right? That is a limitation, and I'll harken back to the critique. That is the limitation of any paid strategy, is you're limited to a small portion of the population. How do you get out of that? I don't know. Referral, like I said, referral marketing, other sources, creating unique marketing opportunities, right? Like I have a website that I generated organic leads off of. We have a gentleman that calls them back, Chris Sorrentino. That's a little bit different. It's a content generated lead strategy. But the problems like that, when they're too unique, they're very hard to duplicate in the same way. So
can I respond to that, David?
Come again?
Can I respond to that? He said, how do you get to the other 80%?
Yeah, go for it. Sure.
Well, I do know someone who they use a data list that comes from the direct mail drops. They take that list and then they actually knock on the doors on that list, because that those people are in the final expense demographic, and they actually knock on those doors, and they have a a script or whatever that they use. But
it's so it's interesting because yes, that is something you can do, but and take it from me, very few people actually go cold call. Like people's ability to do that continuously is very difficult, and it's hard to recruit to that. Go ahead.
Can I just say the point, really, in my opinion, the point to buying leads is to save your time.
Right.
The time is way more important than going out and knocking and trying to get every single person. That's just impossible. There's no way you're going to get every single person.
Well, so some people make it work, but I would argue it's way lower than buying leads.
Yeah.
And it's a grind. It's mentally a grind. Like I never would have gotten this business if I had a cold call list, even a direct mail list. It's just, but there are people who do. I mean, that's the old school way of doing it, and it works. It's just tough, man. And part of your success long-term in this business is conserving the mental energy, right? Like the mindset side. And if you're just constantly grinding it on a cold call, it's hats off to you, man. If you can do it, if you can, you're head and shoulders above a lot of people, including myself. Now I've heard of some, and again, these are interesting to talk about, but this is stuff that, again, examples of things like, can you do it? Will it get you from point A to point B? Will it make you money in the fastest way possible? Like I know I have a guy, a Haitian dude down in South Florida. He's on a radio show. There's a little Haitian radio station somewhere in south of Miami or somewhere in there. And he does one show an hour or so in length. And he does, I guess it's in Haitian French or whatever they speak. And he gets clients from that. And he's consistently done that for years of his work with me, but are you going to do that? Maybe you could take that. Maybe that's an idea. You could take a small little independent radio show, do an hour-long thing. It's not a bad idea, But even when you do stuff like that, it's kind of, you really, it's a good marketing opportunity, but you're kind of, you run against the possibility that you may tap that out too. Same thing. It's the same issues. And what kind of control do you have anyway, marketing that way? So it's not that it's bad. It's just, again, my goal for you is to come to me to do something predictable. And that's getting in front of prospects in a predictable fashion, so you don't have to think through this stuff. Not that I'm against thinking, but I'm for getting traction as quickly as we can. We do that with paid leads for that reason. But the rest of the stuff, there's opportunity in esoteric strategies. But we don't want you being the guinea pig to them, because that's the consequence for doing stuff that's out of the ordinary, is the likelihood of your failure is that much lower, or that much higher, in my opinion. Will Deford radio be available again at some point? I can't seem to find it on new. Yeah, I decided to discontinue that, Brent. Nobody really ever listened to that. What I figured, Brent, was if you wanted to listen to content, just pop into the filter to search, look up if you go to the search, let's see here. It's not showing up. Oh, filters here. If you go to filters and go to deep dive trainings, annuity, daily huddles, and then you can search that way. Or if you go under classrooms, you can go down to these DIG live recorded trainings. So I pulled those out just because it was an experiment to see if it would add value. And I'd heard very little, people liked it, but I could see what the listening stats were, Brent. It was very small. So I just stopped those. Eat lunch, senior center. My company sent you this and we show you if you've not returned it. Yep, that's right. Calvin, what do you think about becoming a social media personality who answers questions about final expense and flip that? Trust it. Yeah. Well, the thing is, Calvin, can you do that in a way that's scalable and people want to listen? I think there's opportunity there. In fact, I think one of the things that is the least leveraged opportunity would be influencer marketing in the space of life insurance. I don't know if you can get as granular as with final expense, but I think there's some, again, this is esoteric, it's unproven, it's not the traditional route, but I think there's opportunity there. You know, you get on and do podcasts and sell your brand and come up with opportunities for policies that way. Sure, I think there's opportunity there. He has a niche market that few radio stations reach. For most of us, the market is too segmented for us to really use medium well. Social media takes time, but it works. Many of us here because David mastered social media. Right. Absolutely. And I will tell you this, I've got a little final expense channel. If you want to look at it, it's called Fixed Income Help. And I get some leads there, but if you look at it, just isn't a ton of traction. It's not like my normal channel. I think I got like 950 subs. I get 50 to 100 views a day, maybe, you know, and not a lot of that converts into business, you know, so it's something, but it's like, it taps out very high. I haven't figured out how to do it from a social media standpoint to come up with life leads. So take it for what it's worth. And that's why I sit here and recommend the traditional stuff, because that still does work pretty easy. Just buy and run appointments. Okay. All right. Well, hey guys, let's take a few minutes break. Thank you again so much for the constructive comments. I do really appreciate it. Hope you got some value out of this. And again, thanks for sticking with me as we go through this.